On today's show, I'm going to let you know why this homestand is crucial if the Clippers want to turn it around. Going to be talking about it all on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You are locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA, been a Clipper fan for 21 years, been covering the team on my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper for 6 and 4 right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and now the #1 sports podcast network. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel. They're giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. And, of course, remember to subscribe to Locked On Clippers on YouTube, and you can listen wherever you get your podcasts. Let's get the subscriber count up to 8,000 before the end of 2025. In this episode, we're going to be talking about how the Clippers can turn things around and why this upcoming homestand is so important if we want to turn things around. And then I'm going to be talking about the most important aspect on the court, in my opinion, when we're looking at these 3 games, and that's Kawhi Leonard. And then, of course, the rotation. We've had so many guys in and out. What do I want that to look like for these games? So let's just begin by talking about the fact that we're back. We're back home, everybody. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Hope the players had a great Thanksgiving. I had a very good one as well. So just thankful for all of you guys, Clipper Nation, the listeners, everybody that's an everydayer, or if you only listen once a week or once a month, or if you're a new listener, thankful for you all, thankful for this amazing fan base. Right now, I'm not thankful for the way the season has started, however. We're 5-13 through 18 games. It has been the most disappointing start to the season, I think, for any team across the league, at least with Indiana, with them being so bad. They've had a multitude of injuries, including to their best player that we knew was going to be out for the season going into the season, whereas we had high expectations, and people like me, who looks like a clown, had us finishing top 3 in the West. And, of course, there's a little bit of Clipper optimism there, but all I figured was 50 wins last year, our team got better. Well, so far, it does not look like our team got better, but what we have to remember is Kawhi Leonard missed 10 out of the 18 games. With Kawhi Leonard, we are 3-5. 3-5. We were 3-3 before he got back, and then we're 0-2. Yeah, we were 3-3 before he got back, and now we're 0-2. Since he came back, but he's been on a minutes restriction in the game against Cleveland and the Lakers. And when we're talking about at Cleveland and at the Lakers, those are 2 of the best teams in the league last season and this season. So we also got to cut the Clippers some slack with those games. However, we're not playing good basketball. We haven't been all season. Just to give a brief summary before we get into these 3 home games, I think obviously having your best player, or people want to debate that Harden's our best player just given his availability and his consistency, and I'll give you that argument. So let's just even say second best player. However, even if you think Harden's better, Ty Lue has gone on record several times and said that Kawhi is the best player. He's the highest paid for a reason. So the way the team is, like, with the expectations that are tied to this team, like, James Harden did not come to be the best player. So if you're saying that Kawhi Leonard is our second best player and he's a disappointment, then this team is not what you expect it to be. But that being said, Kawhi Leonard missing from this Clipper team with the way the team is constructed now, which is we lost our scorer in Bradley Beal, and he was supposed to replace Norman Powell. We got John Collins and had to pay a price for it. That price was Norman Powell. We did it because we thought his game would translate better into playoff basketball, given that he has more size, could help us on the glass more, and he's another athlete in a team of guys that aren't very athletic or are on the older side. And because we didn't want Kawhi to have to be the low man rotator around the rim and help and have to contest as many shots at the rim and bang down low with guys on the glass and stuff of that nature. So we got John Collins, especially because of the way Aaron Gordon exposed us in that series. So the move to get John Collins is really to be a good fit next to Kawhi and make us have a bigger front line. But when we don't have Kawhi, we're really just replacing Norm with John Collins. And I don't think John Collins is even better than Norm. I think it was about fit. However, without Kawhi Leonard, you subtract that scoring that we got from Norm all season long, mixed with the fact that Brook Lopez has been disappointing, which has taken some minutes away from Zoo. And then Chris Paul has been disappointing and Bogey's been injured. So Kevin Porter Jr. last season, in the beginning of the season, was better than anything we had. And Amir Coffey was playing at a pretty high level, given his standards. So that's why we got off to a better start last year and were able to play games well without Kawhi. This team this year, especially with the loss of Beal, which really never got off the ground, and that honestly hindered our start to the season because we had a starter on a minutes restriction to begin a season, and he's Beal. He's our fourth best player at best. That was distorting the rhythm and taking away from our defensive point of attack defense. So you mix all that together with a little bit of a disappointing start to the season from Ivica Zubac, just being soft around the rim and playing like the old Zoo, the 2024 Zoo. The numbers don't back that up. He's actually averaging great stats on the season, 16.6 points and 11.5 rebounds. So you round up to 17 and 12. He's averaging 2 assists a game, but he's also averaging 2 turnovers a game. And he's still shooting 61%. So the crazy part is with Zoo, maybe we're subconsciously holding him to higher standards because we now expect more from him. However, I'm not going to let the stats fool me. He was averaging 2 more points last year, and he was averaging more rebounds last year, and he was shooting higher from the field last year. Not by much, though. Not by much. But you got to remember, in the first half of last season, Zoo was looked at like we look at him now. Was being used the way we're using him now, I'd say. Whereas later in the second half of the season, Zoo was like an all-star caliber player. And we thought that we would be getting that guy. And he hasn't consistently been that guy. We've seen glimpses. We saw him against Cleveland. But he's got to be that guy every night, which is what he was. He was getting triple doubles at the end of last season. I mean, this guy. But again, partially it's teams knowing how good Zoo is now. And that's something he's going to have to adjust to. And I do still believe that at some point this season, we're going to see Zoo revert back to that and look like the best version of himself ever. Maybe not with the stats, because hopefully Kawhi will be back and get a run of games and he'll be scoring a lot. But I do think we'll see Ivica Zubac at some point return back to that consistent dominator that we saw last season. I think it's just a matter of time for him to get adjusted against teams knowing that, oh, we got to keep him away from turning over his left shoulder on the left block, because when he gets to the middle, that jump hook is money. We want to force into the baseline and then double when he's under the basket, because then he gets trapped and then he just throws some BS pass and looks like he wants a foul. That's another thing he's got to stop doing, by the way. He's gotten way too much in that Luka, Harden school of, I'm going to complain after every call. But the thing is, James Harden and Luka Doncic are perimeter players. And honestly, I think Luka's way worse than Harden when it comes to the complaining. You can argue the foul baiting is equal, but the complaining... No, man. I've seen James Harden play a lot of games live now, and I've seen Luka play a couple of games live. That dude, whenever he gets bumped, see, Harden will do the flail and throw it up, but he'll maybe say one thing to the ref. But Luka, every play, even when he scores, James Harden, when he scores, he usually just gets back. He'll maybe point to his wrist or something. Luka in that game, every time, and he did this before, every time he gets bumped, he's crying. It's insane. But Zubac is not going to get the perimeter whistle. The perimeter player whistle. Luka Doncic and James Harden are worldwide brands, brother. You're not that yet. I don't think you're ever going to be, unfortunately, and I love Zoo. But we don't need that. I mean, he just needs to be a star caliber guy. But these 3 home games, ladies and gentlemen. Now, by the way, we went 2-5 on our road trip, and we squandered that early start to the early start to the season where we had a favorable schedule. Coming out like playing like bozos against Utah, not even trying, was a huge red flag. Huge. And then the game against the Warriors, see, that was a disappointing performance in the second half, but I had that penciled down as a loss on the schedule. But losing to Miami, falling apart in that third quarter, turning the ball over left and right, that loss killed us, because we should have been 5-1 with Kawhi before he got hurt, not 3-3. And then after that, you're playing without Kawhi, and then Beal's on a minutes restriction, and then you go what was it, 3-7? Yeah, 3-7 in the first 10 games. And I said we were supposed to go 7-3. And then we go to the road trip and go 2-5. So here we are, 5-13. I do not know why I thought we had 3 home games for a second, because we only have 2. I thought we had 2, and then someone was like, we have 3 home games in a row. No, we don't. Were they counting the Laker game? So, because I was looking at my tickets, I only had 2 games planned on my agenda this weekend. We got a back-to-back. Memphis and Dallas, 2 of the other most disappointing teams in the league. Now, I was pretty up to date with the Grizz as of their game against the Mavs. So, like, their first 10 games. I said the same thing about the Lakers because I've just been really, like, busy. But they were disappointing. You had John Morant ask the coaching staff after that loss to the Lakers, and it was like, whoa, like, does Ja even want to be here anymore? And stuff like that. They're still struggling. They're honestly struggling even more. They were 4-6 in their first 10, so a little better than us. And then ever since, they've gone 3-6. So they're struggling right now. They've had a multitude of injuries themselves with Brandon Clark and Ty Jerome and Scottie Pippen Jr. being out. We should beat them. I don't know about the Kawhi minutes restriction thing. We'll talk about that coming up, but we should beat them. And then Dallas is struggling immensely, and they've been hit with the injury bug. AD is going to come back from injury tonight against the Lakers. I don't think he'll play the back-to-back. And without AD and Kyrie Irving, the Mavs offense is just like not it. Like, it's not great. But you never know with this Clipper team, the way we've been defending. But these games are very important for us to get some positive momentum back. We should beat these teams because you know what's coming up after that? Another road trip at Miami, at Atlanta, at Memphis, at Minnesota, at OKC. And then we come home and play the Lakers and the Rockets before playing the Blazers on the road. And then the Pistons. Then we play the Kings. It calms down at the end of December. Like, we could easily just, like, our whole season can come to an end right here if we just go on a huge losing skid. Because these are tough teams, so we got to win these two games. But coming up, going to be talking about Kawhi Leonard and what we need to see from him in these two games. I got to tell you a little something about DoorDash. You see, the NBA season is heating up, and DoorDash has found the perfect way to keep fans in their bag all season long. Whether you're watching for the highlights, your fantasy team, or just your favorite player, DoorDash makes every game night even better. DoorDash is the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA, and they're celebrating with something called the bag drop. So next time someone goes off for 50, use promo code NBA50 the next day to get 50% off on DoorDash with Dash Pass, plus your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only. 50% off up to $10 the day after a 50-point game with promo code. Terms apply. No purchase necessary. Ends April 13th. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Visit DoorDashInYourBag.com for full details. DoorDash, in your bag all season long. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. All right, Clippers return home for a little 2-game back-to-back set against the Memphis Grizzlies and the Dallas Mavericks, two of the other most disappointing teams in the league this season alongside ourselves. But we have a chance to build some positive momentum here if we can beat these teams. Now, I think Kawhi Leonard is the most important part of these two games. Most important piece. He's been on a minutes restriction in these two games, and he hasn't looked too bad, but he also hasn't looked too great. He scored 20 points in 26 minutes in Cleveland in a 105-120 loss. And then he scored 19 points in 28 minutes against the Lakers in a 118-135 loss. Will we see him get up to 30 minutes tonight? He's had 2 full days off before this game, which is a nice little rest. And if he's not playing the back-to-back, I see him going about 30 minutes, hopefully. And I'm looking to see how we play. Is he going to be a dominant force? Is he going to be aggressive throughout the game? Or is it going to be kind of drifting away as just a spot-up shooter alongside James Harden? What are we going to see? But what is most importantly our approach? Because some might say you can't have Kawhi be the #1 option. He's out too much. You know, James Harden is the engine that runs this team, and he's been our best player this season. he's averaging an amazing 28 points a game to go along with 6 boards, 8 dimes, and a steal. I mean, are you kidding me? The only thing I'll say is the 4 turnovers. But 28, 6, and 8 on 45, 38, 90 and a half splits at his age. I mean, come on. It's kind of hard. I mean, Kawhi, when you want to compare his stats, of course, though, I always think Harden's going to have better stats. I think Kawhi, you don't have a stat there for defense, which Kawhi is much better than James Harden. But in this case, I will say the stats back up the eye test relative to this comparison this season. Kawhi Leonard has played in 8 games. First of all, he averages 4 less minutes a night. So that's relevant. Then he averages 23 points a game, which is still pretty good. 23, 5, and 3. He averages less rebounds than Harden. 2 steals a game. And shooting splits-wise, 49, 40, 97 from the free throw line. But almost half the attempts. So Kawhi's been efficient. He's still been, he's had some Kawhi tendencies when you look at, the splits. 23 points. We've seen that even on his, we saw him average 23 points in 2023, but he was literally working his way back from an ACL tear during the season. It took a while for him to look like that. So I say all that to say that Kawhi Leonard should be averaging more, but I also question our approach sometimes. Are we a Kawhi-centric team? Because there are quarters that will happen and occur during a game in which we're not even looking to give Kawhi the ball on possessions. And I get it. James Harden's really good, and James Harden has more of a chance to generate an open shot for us. But it depends. How many shots do we want Kawhi getting? Do we want him getting 20-plus shots guaranteed? Because if that's the case, we got to have more sets that we're running through him. You know what I'm saying? Getting him the ball in his spots, getting him the ball in the mid-range, in the mid-post, where he can work. Of course, a lot of times it's going to be a contested jumper. But for him, what really is a contested mid-range jumper? You know what I'm saying? I think that's a pretty efficient shot for him. So we'll just have to see, how we use Kawhi here in these 2 games. Is he even on a minutes restriction? But the key to this team is getting Kawhi Leonard to be Kawhi Leonard again. That means being on the court. That means available. That means performing at a high level. That we're not even having a debate who's better between he and James Harden. Because last season, in the second half of the season, Kawhi Leonard was our best player. In the playoffs, he looked like our best player. You can argue Harden had a better series for his standards, but we hold Kawhi to higher standards. He is the highest paid player, and James Harden came to support him, to be a supporting piece to him, supporting star. In 2024, there was no debate, Kawhi or Harden. So the fact that it is a debate is, 1, a testament to Harden, but 2, is not good for Kawhi because he's getting paid more and doesn't play as much. And this team sold everything for him, has given him everything, is in an investigation because of getting him. So we got to see something from Kawhi these 2 games. That's all I got to say. But coming up, let's talk about the rotation. Let's talk about the other guys on the team. What are we going to need in these 2 games? I got to tell you a little something about FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. And right now on FanDuel, taking a look at the NBA odds, you can bet on anything from the finals to awards, games today. Right now for the game, let's see the lines. We're -6. All right, then. Got to get it done. FanDuel, baby. Clippers, money line. Smash that. Just go to FanDuel. Because right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, Clipper Nation, it's going to be really nice to be home. I'm going to be attending both of these games. So if you want to get interviewed after a game or you see me at a game, holler at me. Never feel bad. I would love to get your thoughts of the video, or if you just want to say hi. It's one of my favorite parts of going to games these days, if not my favorite, is talking to all the people that, they say they listen and they're subscribed and whatever, being in the videos. It's really fun for me. So after the game, you know where I'll be. if you want to be interviewed post-game. But yeah, Grizzlies tonight, or as I like to call them, the Memphis Teddy Bears. Shout out to the Locked On Grizzlies hosts Joe Mullinax and DeMichael Cole. Go subscribe to Locked On Grizz. If you can stomach the Grizzlies, dude, I'm just kidding. Just subscribe to them. But, I don't like those Grizzlies because going back to the Grindhouse versus Lob City days, that really, it was a real rivalry. There was real physicality. Blake Griffin, they would try to injure him. Hated that. Their fans hated us. Would always boo and call CP3 a flopper, even though he is one, but he was our flopper. Z Bozo. Great player. I just don't like. And Marc Gasol. And he did that Conor McGregor thing in that regular season game. I just can't stand them. Just can't stand them. But anyway, you might be saying it's a different team now. I don't care. I don't like them. Anyway, so we got to win. We got to win. Now, talking about our rotation, we know the obvious. James Harden, gonna run the show. Dude's been amazing this season. This is his first home game since the 55 piece. He should get a nice hand when he's introduced, even more than before. Earlier this season, I should say, because he deserves it. And then you've got Kawhi Leonard, who I just talked about at length. He needs to be aggressive. He needs to be assertive. Ivica Zubac. By the way, Jalen Wells, I presume, is going to guard James tonight. And he's, based on what we saw last season when we played them, he's a pretty good James defender. Hopefully I jinx that. But who's really going to be sticking Kawhi, though? He's torched KCP. He has torched him. The last home game they played, they beat the Pelicans. Maybe Vince Williams. KCP was coming off the bench. I don't even know that. See, in the first 10 games, he was starting. Maybe he was playing so badly that they put him on the bench. But yeah. Cedric Coward, he's an exciting young rookie. He's been playing really good basketball. He's averaging 14 points a game and 6 boards on 47% shooting. He was the 11th pick in the draft, so he's nice. He's nice. But he's only 6'5". Can these guys guard Kawhi? If Vince Williams starts, it's going to be Vince Williams. But he's 6'4". Come on, Kawhi. This is your night. This is your night to get a nice 30 ball. Why not? Or if they double, make plays. Zoo. He's playing against a team that has struggled at the center spot all year. We should dominate with Zoo and Kawhi. This is a Zoo and Kawhi game. So hopefully Harden sets the table for them nicely. Then going down the line, who else should we start? We saw Kobe Sanders start on the road trip, but I think the starting lineup is what it is. Chris Dunn, JH, Kawhi, JC, and Zoo. John Collins, he started making threes in that Laker game. That was really nice to see. We need him to knock down that 3 ball. It really changes his value for this team. He had some rough games on that road trip. I want to see him knock down threes and crash the offensive glass in this game and hopefully make an impact against Jaren Jackson Jr. and not just get sunned. Because Jaren won't be super quick compared to him, but he's got a little bit of size. He's going to try to post up, but we'll see. Jaren Jackson likes to settle. So I'm interested. This is the reason why we got a guy like John Collins, though, when we play against a team that runs 2 bigs like JJJ and Jock Landale. So let's see how John Collins fares. I'm very interested to see that. And then Chris Dunn. Let's see if he can contain Ja, who has been, at least in the first 10 games, was atrocious. Terrible shooting splits, can't shoot the ball, does not look as explosive and hungry as before. He was part of the reason that they were so disappointing to me. So, you know what? I'll just check his numbers. Ja Morant. He's averaging 18 points. And he's averaging 29 minutes a game. 18 and 8 is very pedestrian for him, and he's shooting 36, 17, 94 splits. You heard correctly. He's shooting 5 threes a game, and he shoots 17% from deep. Insane. So Chris Dunn better clamp his ass. Is he checked out? Because Ja, I think even though you're a head case, you could be our head case. I mean, you might think I'm crazy, but I don't know. Ja with LA would be re-energized. The only thing with Ja is his injuries. The gun thing, the unseriousness, I don't care about that. I think you could say La La Land could distract him, but now we're getting way off topic. Anyway, in terms of who should come off the bench, that's interesting for us. I think Kobe Sanders for sure. Brook Lopez was taken out of the rotation. Honestly, I would play him. Because he sometimes plays well. I don't know. People might disagree. I don't know about the small ball against this team. I think Brook Lopez, CP3, Nico, Kobe Sanders, and if we have Bogey, that's 10. We lost a lot of... Without Derrick Jones Jr., we don't really have guys that can guard like that. That's the problem. So let's see how we defend. Memphis does not have many perimeter shot creators. They don't have Ty Jerome or Scottie Pippen Jr., so it's really just Ja Morant and Cedric Coward. So let's hold our own. All right. I'm going to definitely give a post-game episode Saturday morning after this one. So appreciate everybody. Let's go Clips. Time to turn it around. We got to get it done right here. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dime Dropper Pod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper, LA Sports, and NBA content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, where I want you to subscribe and hit the notification bell and comment to get us up to 8,000 subs before the end of 2025. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers.